Hello everyone, welcome back to another ZX7R video. Today, that's what we are riding, the Kawasaki ZX7R. The model that I have is from 1999. And what I'm going to talk about today is why you should buy one of these. Because it is an excellent motorcycle, whether you are looking for a collectible or a fun motorcycle to ride around. This is an excellent choice that I think you guys should think about picking up now before it's too late. So we're just going to get right into it. And the number one reason I think that you should buy one of these now is because they are starting to become a collectible, and right now they are not overly popular, so you can get one of these for an excellent price. This particular motorcycle I purchased for $2,900, and when I bought it, if you did not watch my rebuild series video on this, when I bought it, it needed some TLC and it needed some love. It had Chinese aftermarket fairings on it. It had a coolant leak. Wasn't running properly. Just needed a complete refresh. Now, I'm not going to call it a rebuild because some people get offended when I say that, because I didn't open up the engine and do, you know, all that type of work. But I definitely gave it a refresh. So I bought this for $2,900, and I could have fixed it up for probably about 1,500 bucks. But I decided to put some really cool rare parts on it, aftermarket parts and everything. So my build cost was a little higher, but nonetheless, the point I'm trying to make is you can get into this motorcycle, which is a future collectible, for I would say under $5 grand. I think if you get a really clean, low mileage example of this, you're probably going to pay anywhere between 6 to 8. And I think that if you get something like this one, which has higher miles, needed some TLC and everything, probably going to look at paying between 2,500 bucks and 3,500 bucks. To get into a classic motorcycle for this price point is excellent. You know, it's something that I think is going to continue to appreciate in value, so it's a great bargain. So I'd say that's reason number one, is if you want a classic motorcycle, this is an absolutely excellent choice to get into. Something that you can keep as a second or third motorcycle in your stable while you have your daily motorcycle. This happens to be the second motorcycle that I have in my collection currently. I don't ride it all the time. It's more of a to the gym and back motorcycle, or a joyride on a weekend, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Not that you can't daily it, it's a great motorcycle, but for the reasons I just stated, obviously, number one, it's a great collector piece. Get them now while you still can, because I think in about 5 years time, they're going to be a lot more rare. They're going to become even more of a collectible, and prices are going to go up. So now is a great time to get one. Reason number two on why you should buy is the ZX7R. Stability and control. So this motorcycle is not the lightest. It's not the most nimble. It's not the most powerful. But it is incredibly stable. In fact, it is the most stable motorcycle that I've ever owned, that I've ever ridden. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're going through the twists and the corners and carving a little bit, if you pick your line, it's going to keep it. You know, you're not going to be all over the road. You're not going to have fear of the motorcycle coming out from under you or anything like that. It is insanely stable. It's going to hold its line and go exactly where you want it to, and it's going to stay there. A phrase that a lot of the ZX7R owners will say is it handles like it's on rails, and it absolutely does. That's very true. So whether you're a beginner rider, an expert rider, intermediate, whatever, you're gonna have a lot of fun on this motorcycle, because you're not gonna have fear of losing control of the motorcycle. Yes, it's heavy, yes, it's thick, but for those reasons is why it will hold its line and it's so stable. So I love the motorcycle for those reasons. I am not trying to be the fastest on this. I am not taking this to the track to try to break records or anything like that. It's just an excellent motorcycle to ride, especially in the twists and corners. It is an excellent motorcycle in that regard. So I would say if you're a new rider, like a beginning rider that has a 250 or a 300 or a 500 and wants to upgrade, I think that this would be a great choice. You know, you're gonna have great control of the motorcycle, but it doesn't have so much power to the point where you can twist the throttle and you have to worry, you know. On leader bikes, you absolutely have to worry if you're a beginner, if you're doing, if you're in the twists and corners and you're not ready for that kind of power and you twist the throttle pretty much in any gear, you know, if you're not experienced, you have the potential to go down. So I think that this is an excellent choice for really any rider that just wants to have fun, that wants control and wants to feel stable. I would love to do a little pull here for you guys. All right, I am in second gear. This is going to be a second gear pull from 6,000 RPMs. It's about 100. Up in the fourth gear. Yeah, and it sounds great. You know, it's got plenty of power for experienced riders. Sounds amazing. If you did not watch my rebuild on this, I have a full Black Widow exhaust from the headers back, and I'm in love with the exhaust. It sounds absolutely excellent. Great price too, came all the way from Europe, but that's besides the point. I'm getting off topic. But that will bring me to reason number 3 on why you should buy this motorcycle. So personally, I like to have different, unique, quirky bikes, cars, whatever. I like to have things that are a little bit different that not everybody else has, that you don't see every day. You know, in the world of riding, you see a lot of ZX6Rs, you see a lot of R6s, you see a lot of Gixxers, CBRs, and you know, they're a dime a dozen. You see them everywhere. But this particular motorcycle, I have yet to see another one in my area. So I live in upstate New York. I have yet to see another one on the streets. I have seen one over the years of living in this area, but usually they're either in one of two conditions. They're either completely shot, you know, because they've had 10 different owners and, you know, owned by a whole bunch of different kids and everything else, and they've just been completely like molested, or they are in like perfect OEM stock form and they got a couple thousand miles on it or whatever. This particular one, again, you can see the mileage. I bought with higher miles. I tried to restore the best I could. And this is not a garage queen. This is a rider. You know, she definitely doesn't sit in the garage. But my point being is, you don't see a lot of these around. This is an absolute head turner of a motorcycle. In my personal opinion, and in the opinions of a lot of ZX7R owners, the front end of this motorcycle is one of the best looking motorcycles of all time. It just looks absolutely incredible, and it really stands the test of time with modern aesthetics and modern looks. If you were to look at this motorcycle, the only reason why you would know it's older is just because of its size, but the way it looks is just amazing, and you don't see a lot of these. It's a rare motorcycle. I was really hoping and praying that Kawasaki would actually bring this motorcycle back into its lineup, because a lot of brands like Yamaha, for example, you know, they brought in the R7. There's been a lot of different types of bikes out there that they've been bringing back or introducing. Like Kawasaki went with the ZX4RR, which I would love to get my hands on, going back to the lower CC inline fours. I wish that they would bring this motorcycle back, because I think it would sell like hotcakes. I think that they should keep the similar front end, bring back the inline 4 750 engine, 749cc, whatever they want to do, but keep the aesthetic look of this and just update it. You know what I mean? Make it more nimbler, lighter, but keep the aesthetic look of the front end of this motorcycle, and I think it would sell like hotcakes. Really. But again, I'm kind of getting off topic here. Reason number 3 to buy this motorcycle is it's just such a unique and rare motorcycle. It turns heads. If you want something different, if you want something unique, if you want something where you go to the gas station or you go to a show like a car show or a motorcycle meet or something like that, you'll be the talk of the meet, man. You're not going to be the fastest. You're not going to be the most agile in the corners, but you sure as hell am going to turn heads, and you're going to have a great conversation starter. You know, everyone's going to come up and talk to you about the bike. So if you want something like that, this would be an excellent motorcycle to get. I would say that those are the top 3 reasons why I would buy a ZX7R and why you should buy a ZX7R. There's other reasons as well. Of course, the way it sounds, but all inline 4-cylinders sound good. You know what I mean? It's just going to depend on the exhaust that you have. You know, they all sound fantastic. Of course, this bike sounds fantastic. That's no surprise. It's a given. But those really are my top 3 reasons why I would say you should buy one. So again, I would look now if you're interested in buying one before prices really increase. Now is a great time to look for one, especially now as we're approaching fall. You know, people don't want to store their bikes. Someone like myself that has several motorcycles, if I wanted to sell this, I'd want to do it before winter. And the thing about it is you could usually get them for great deals. This is when I bought mine, was last fall. So look now while you can get them for a good price. But anyway, those are my top 3 reasons. If you have questions about this particular motorcycle, then leave them in the comment section down below. Feel free to check out my full rebuild. I have an entire series on my channel, which is about 15 episodes, where I show everything I did on this particular motorcycle to get it back to its glory. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next ride video.